Hi, it's Lee and welcome to the Tesla Economist. Tesla have released the new features of what we'll expect in the Model 3 Project Highland, the first major facelift we've ever seen for the world's best-selling electric car. We've seen various Model 3s undercover driving around, spotted by enthusiasts. From these photos, I'd concluded that this was just going to be a minor facelift and will not see any major new manufacturing advances on the new Model 3, such as structural battery packs or gigacastings. After what happened with the Model S and X facelifts and how much downtime we saw there, Tesla do not want to risk that again or lose minimal downtime for the Model 3. Of course, we know there is always that potential of cost savings for the Model 3 one day, but it might sacrifice progress in other areas like Gen 3, not to mention put Model 3 production at risk if unknown complications arose during such a massive upgrade. I would say, with the Highland upgrade, Tesla are likely to do the most they can with as minimal downtime as possible. It may be a month or so of downtime. I would have thought unlikely any longer than a couple of months at least. Many critics out there are saying that the Model 3 is looking dated after 6 years, and sales do appear to be dwindling slightly, but equally that could be due to the economy, as much as potential competitors. But what competition does the Model 3 really have? The Polestar 2? Not as nice and costs more. When you actually think about it, there's still very few legacy EV sedans even. Then we have the Chinese that are trying to release more models that look different with the latest designs, but the quality lacks. So the Model 3 actually has very little direct competition. A lot of the legacy autos have taken the SUV or crossover market for EVs, as it's much bigger and more profitable. Anyway, soon we will have a refreshed Model 3, which we think Tesla is expecting to bounce back demand. To what extent? We'll still have to find out. Tesla are not making any waste of this opportunity and will do what they can to reduce costs, parts and processes with this update. On top of that, it's pretty obvious that Tesla will update this car for HW4. As we were told on Q4 earnings, to a lot of people's disappointment, Tesla's HW4 will not be compatible with older models. HW4 is Tesla's way of adjusting the hardware to be more compatible around what Tesla have discovered is the best path forward with FSD. Tesla are acknowledging that items like more cameras are going to help in solving FSD. Some people think that FSD can't be solved even without HW4. Look, as shareholders, it doesn't matter if it can or can't. Even if HW4 is the only way to solve FSD, it's still obviously going to be a massive enough breakthrough to send the stock flying. Even if Tesla had to pay out all HW3 customers who ordered FSD, that would be pennies compared to what FSD brings. And now we're hearing the specifics of this update. One being a new camera in the newly designed bumper. This sounds like it might remove a lot of so-called issues with FSD that people have been facing. Obviously, it's much easier for the car to see what is directly in front of it, and when pulling out of intersections, the car can see without having to pull out as far. I was saying that cameras like this would make sense for the robotaxi designed vehicle, but these HW4 adjustments may be sufficient enough. And along with Tesla Vision Park Assist, which supposedly means that Tesla are now able to measure distances without ultrasonic sensors, and allows a bird's eye view, something a lot of competitors have offered that Tesla has not. This sounds almost unbelievable, and was the reason we were hearing that Tesla have been removing the ultrasonic sensors. However, the software was not functioning properly at the time. If it is actually able to measure distances though, that sounds incredibly impressive, and is another way of how Tesla can use technology to reduce costs and improve manufacturing, perhaps saving around an extra couple of $100 per vehicle without sensors. There are actually 2 new cameras on the sides of the vehicle too. My theory is that these cameras will be higher up in order to see over things better and get a clearer picture. These cameras are also now supposedly 5 megapixels with anti-glare compared to the current 1.2 megapixels in HW3. That's quite the upgrade. But think what it does for FSD. The ability to see that much more clearly and obviously see further distances too. And the new hardware can handle the higher definition video, even with more cameras. Perhaps that was somewhat of a limiting factor for HW3. It wasn't going to be able to process higher resolution, and this alone might achieve a big jump in FSD. I think with version 11 and HW4, we're likely going to see some really good progress on FSD this year. This is also why I think the new Gen 3 vehicle will also be more designed around FSD or robotaxiing in order to increase the rate at which it can be solved and improved. A lighter, smaller car with mechanical braking will be able to stop much faster, which is ideal for a robotaxi. We've also heard rumours of a similar update coming for the Model Y. This update is codenamed Juniper. If this is what is required to use Hardware 4, then I would now think that a Model Y update is very likely to arrive sometime after this Model 3 update. The Model 3 update is meant to occur in Q3 this year, so the Model Y may be Q4 or perhaps early 2024. And I would expect it to be a very similar update to the Model 3 Highland update. Except, of course, there are twice as many factories to shut down. The Model 3 headlights are going to be redesigned. Maybe they'll look a bit more like a Tesla Roadster. I think any facelift on a Model 3 will be a big deal and could change the look of the car a lot. The most dated features you get in a car tend to be headlights, and accompanied with a smoother front and new bumper, it's possible to create quite a new look. And again, similar for the rear lights and rear bumper too. The side mirrors also have a minor update, which will all help give the exterior a noticeable facelift. However, there was also an interior facelift. The wood trim is now being replaced with fabric finish. There'll be a dash facelift and, of course, a focus on cutting costs. I guess now the Model 3 is a lower cost vehicle, it doesn't need to offer as higher quality parts. Perhaps the gear stick will also be removed like on the Model S and X. Tesla removes the temperature sensor too, and instead will use GPS location for weather data, along with improvements to the GPS itself, which will enable a more accurate location of the vehicle. But with an interior and exterior update and Hardware 4, I would say there'll be some new demand for this vehicle. It may give existing Model 3 owners a reason to finally get a new car. I'm looking forward to seeing a new design for Tesla and seeing what direction they're moving. I don't think we'll see any major updates for the Model 3 after this anytime soon. I know there were some rumours that perhaps Model 3 will eventually be produced in Berlin too and use structural battery packs, but I don't think that will happen. I think as far as Model 3 is concerned, this Highland update will be it for some time. Possibly they may even get into Gen 3 production for Model 3, but I don't think so. Probably not this decade. They may just do the occasional facelift like this, or regular minor ones. But I think the main reason for these updates is not necessarily just for the look and feel, but to add in Hardware 4 and use it as an excuse to do some updates while they're at it, and find some ways of reducing some costs as well. I don't even think Tesla will really ramp up Model 3 production much more than what they have currently. No more Model 3 factories, or use 4680 cells. Just leave that pretty much as it is. Tesla are looking forward to their future vehicles that will sell in much bigger numbers. Tesla are not looking in the rearview mirror. Just for the same reason, they're not going to remake Model S and X with 4680 structural battery packs. From here on in, when it comes to cars, it's likely all about making cars that have the best chance of self-driving and are scalable to the masses on cost, supplies, and manufacturing capabilities. Tesla want models that sell in the millions and millions. They don't want to waste resources on fine-tuning older models that don't sell as much. Tesla know where the real money is, hence why Elon is so focused on Tesla sorting out FSD, even if it means the vehicles will need a few more cameras to achieve it. This will be a nice facelift to keep the Model 3 still looking current, despite it still having the most advanced technology compared to all other manufacturers. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.